All right, hey everybody, John Britt here. Hey, I got another video for you. I went to a workshop at Orange Street Pottery in Wilmington, and I met a woman there, Bev Haley, and she made this cup, which she traded me for. It was a super nice cup. And so I liked it, so I started using it at home, and I liked it a lot. And what she did was she took all her scrap clays and made them into Nerikomi or Neriage type construction method, and I wanted to show you that because so that's why I'm calling it Nerikomi Neriage. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it exemplified for me a lot of things that you may run into. All this theory and everything is one thing, but then you're in practice, you have to figure it out. So all these clay bodies have different shrinkages. They all give off gases more or less. Like porcelain won't have much gas going off, but a dark body like 266 would. So you would think you'd have to do special bisque firing for it, and that's what I did. So I didn't get any. If I put the glaze on one of these, it might only pinhole where the 266 is. So I have to do the whole thing with the slow bisque fire. So I'm going to talk about this slow bisque fire schedule of Steve Davis. And then when I fired it, I still got some pinholes. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'm firing it too hot. Maybe the glaze is too thick. And so then I adapted, and I want to show you that so that when you're doing your own stuff, you can make adaptations like that. Okay, so let's just start with so what she did was, okay, here's where she's at Orange Street Pottery in Wilmington, Bev Haley, and she teaches class there and stuff, and she said we could share all this and tell you, and then I could directly copy her work, which I didn't do a very good job of, but, so what I did was I had scrap clay around, and so I used redstone, brownstone, bunkum white, and Riverside grit. Those are all high water clays. And then I had a bunch of 215 standard, 266, and Brooklyn red, and I layered those together and rolled them out. I'm going to show you that in 1 second. Yeah, so let me just show you that over here. So see, these were all rolled together like this, made it a slab like this. So they were stacked up like this, and then rolled together, and then pounded around a bunch. All right, so now if I, and you can see, once I have that block, so now what I'm gonna do is I wanna cut a little slab off. So I usually just turn it over. This is called like the Poor Potters Nerikomi Neriage, because normally Nerikomi is like hand built, Neriage is like thrown. Usually you do colored porcelain, and so we're just doing it with stoneware, so it's not real fussy or anything. So then I'll put these two sticks here. This is standard, pottery method, and then put a wire there, run this wire through. Now my slab is that thickness, and now I have a slab here like this to work with. And now what I would do with that, in order to make it go nicely, I would roll this a bunch or stretch it. All right? And I'm just going to show you minimal. I'm not going to mix anything. I'm just going to show you the idea. So normally what I would do if I was making something like this is I would take an object, cover it in paper, and then assemble it. You can also cover in saran wrap or something to let it release. And so in this case then I just cut out the bottom like this, and I'll just put it on here, press it around. If I want, I can score this. I always just have a little, you can have water, vinegar, water, whatever, magic water. And now I've rolled this here like this, see how big it is. And then I determined that, well, what I could do here is I could just kind of make this for you right now. Score that a little. I know Bev says she didn't really even have to score. So you don't have to score if you keep it wet enough. All right, so I'm going to do that. and then I'm going to push this on here. Hopefully I cut that right. Close enough. So now if I wanted, I could score that joint. I'm not going to do it right now. And then I would also probably come in here and, you know, work this edge down, maybe paddle it, get it all nice. And then when I'm done, you know, this thing will just come right out. I can let that dry. And then I'm gonna, that's what I did, is I made 2 of these. And then I put glaze on them. All right, now what I also, just so you see all this other stuff here, what I did was I just would cut out sections and put them in I have a ram press, and I can ram them together, and I can get all just kinds of designs. Over here I just would put random pieces in. So there's a million ways to do this method. And then these are the finished pieces. What you can see with hers was when we put the glaze on, it made it a little, knocked the red out. It was just all sort of brown, but she kept it glaze free down here, so you saw everything. And so I did the same thing. You can make all kinds of patterns. And then when I glazed this, what happened was it pinholed a little. And I got some bloating. So here is a big bloat right here. And so then I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to bisque fire it now with this schedule to eliminate the bloating. And so I did that. And the main point, you can Google oxidized bisque by Steve Davis, and an article will come up. But here's the crux of it. I revised it just real simply for my purposes. The main thing is you're going 100 degrees from 1100 to 1950. That's very slow, but it drives all the gases out. All right, so then when I glazed this, I still got pinholes. But I noticed they were just like right on the edge. And that's where it had been essentially, I poured it like this, and then I poured the inside, and where it overlapped, I got some pinholing. So I realized, okay, maybe if I apply it thinner. Oh, I'm not sure if I wrote that up here. The water was 100, I did 150 grams of water per 100 grams of glaze. So that's pretty thin. So I thinned it out real good, and then I glazed it, and then what I also thought to myself was, maybe I'm firing it too hot, because I fired fast fire cone 6. And so then I made up this cycle, so I could go, it was the E1 cycle is to cone 6, usually fast fire. So what I did was E1 to cone 5.5. So I stopped at 2165, and then I went a 15-minute hold. So that was not quite cone 6, it was, you know, below it. So, and then that worked fantastic. So the fact that I bisque fired slower, that I applied the glaze thinner and fired a little bit lower, made this work perfectly. So you can try that. Now, if you have problems with pinholing still, another possible solution which works very well is Tony Hansen's. It's called Stop and Drop. And what he does is you just say this is firing E1, which I just move this over, and then what he does is he drops 100 degrees below peak, and then he holds it for 30 to 45 minutes. So in this case, the peak was 2165. He drops to 2065 and holds for 30 to 45 minutes. And then that will clean up pinholes. And so I've done that many times. That works excellent. Another thing is this glaze is called, I'm going to show you this glaze in a second. It's called high calcium semi-matte. So as you can see in this case, it's glossy. But that's because I did fast fire. So if you want it to be satiny, you can use this cycle. This is called E3 from my book. And so what I did was use the same thing here, but then you drop it 500 degrees an hour to 1900, go 100 degrees an hour to 1400. So that's about 5 hours there that you're holding it in the area where it will make calcium mats, and you'll get a satiny surface instead of glossy. Okay, so let me just tell you this. The glaze we used, and this was because Bev used this. I asked her what glaze, and she told me. It's high calcium semi-matte 2. It's in the clear section of the mid-range book. It's a mastering cone 6, high calcium semi-matte 2. And so here's the recipe. And it's got 2 bentonite added. And then the water, this is basically 100 grams plus the bentonite. And then the water was 150 grams of water, so that way it made it real thin. And I just did a quick coat. I didn't, hold it for any length of time. So that's it. So I think that might be fun for you. I'm going to try to see if I forgot anything. Make all those. Pinhole bloating. All right, that's it. So make about 1,000 of those by tomorrow, and we'll see you then.